Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is May, and I'll be your host for today. On behalf of the PMI UAE chapter, I'm glad to welcome you to our virtual event today to learn and interact with our renowned speaker on a crucial topic. Today's event is quite an experience. We wanted to provide you with a unique platform where you are able to attend multiple sessions, network, and connect with your fellow chapter members. Education and learning and development, of course, are among the key priorities for PMI UAE chapter. We believe in taking our share of responsibility, delivering the necessary and most recent knowledge and the project economy to members of PMI, as well as the entire business community across industries. Today, we're very happy to have with us Dr. Hazza Alneaimi, Coordinator General at the Dubai Government Excellence Program, who will be speaking to us about organizational agility during crisis. I personally am looking forward for this talk. We are living right now in an unprecedented time due to a global pandemic. And I believe it is very important for all organizations to learn and adapt to show the agility needed to innovate and overcome this crisis. Before we begin with Dr. Hazza, I would like to run through the agenda for today and give you a quick tour on this platform the PMI UAE chapter is utilizing today. Starting with the agenda, if we can have the agenda, please, yes. From 10:30 to 11:30, Dr. Hazza will speak to us at the end of the speech. We'll have a 15 minutes Q&A session. You can post all your questions on the right side of the screen. You will see on the right side, we have a session for chat and there's questions. You can post your questions there. And you can also vote on the questions you like to be answered. The questions with the highest votes will appear first. From 11:30 to 12:15, there will be, as you can see on the agenda, running parallel sessions, and you can choose one session to join live. You won't be able to join more than one session at the same time. However, all of them will be uploaded on the YouTube channel for you to be able to view it again. And of course, you can watch the recording. To choose a session to attend, you will need to click on the sessions icon on the left-hand side and scroll to see the session that you want to attend. Afterwards, we'll have from 12:15 to 1:15 a group networking room available on the left-hand side. You can see it's called Circles. If you want to attend, you can just turn on your web and the microphone and speak to your fellow chapter member. I hope we are clear. And of course, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to put it on the main page of the event and someone from the volunteers will get back to you. Now, please take a moment. We're going to be starting in a minute. I'm very excited as now I will be having Dr. Mohammed Al-Rida, PMI UAE chapter president, who will have a special announcement to make. Dr. Mohammed, over to you.
Shukran, May, and thank you so much for being with us today and being a true supporter of PMI, not only during these challenging times, but since long time you've been a true friend of PMI. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our virtual event today. The world has faced unprecedented challenges in 2020 in a form we have never seen before. Those challenges affected everyone, and of course, PMI UAE was not immune to it. Our focus at PMI UAE has always been and will continue to be on individuals, innovation, learning, and of course, development. The pandemic has definitely slowed us down and prevented us from hosting our regularly monthly events with the regular educational material and networking opportunities and lunches that you are all used to. However, these are tough times, and we are very well trained project managers, that I know for sure. We are used to facing risks, and we have the agility to overcome them. Since March this year, and with the beginning of the lockdown, the PMI UAE team has accepted a challenge. And let me tell you, this is a very unique challenge. The challenge was to create the first ever strategy completely online. Meetings online, thinking of our vision online, brainstorming online, and doing everything by the book, however, with the new technologies around us online. From visioning to initiatives, from KPIs to missions, statements, to as well quarreling online. The team has worked tirelessly and led by my colleague, Dr. Samar Al-Mashjari, our Abu Dhabi branch manager. I'm proud to say we have devised a mechanism to overcome all challenges and prepare PMI UAE to the new normal with a new strategic plan. It was not easy, but with the hard work of our chapter directors, managers, volunteers, and with the support of PMI MENA, we are launching today our new strategy, PMI UAE 2024. Starting at 11:30 a.m. this morning, we will be running parallel sessions with our chapter directors, who will be going through the details and plans for PMI UAE for the next 5 years. It's one thing to submit a strategy and another thing to execute it. I'm putting my trust into our chapter leaders, and I call for volunteers interested in joining our chapter and help shape PMI UAE's future to reach out to my colleague, Ms. Hayat Mansour, our volunteering director. Thank you, and without further ado, please allow me to welcome a pioneering thought leader and an inspirer of excellence in Government of Dubai, His Excellency, Dr. Hazza Alneaimi.
We can have, if you'd like to have any questions, everybody, please join us. Dr. Hazza, in a second. I understand working from home is always a challenge, and we try our best to accommodate. I'm going to just go back to the main points for now. You can, Dr. Mazen, I'm going to just mention to everybody once again what will be the agenda. Since it's our new platform, I'd like to tell you after Dr. Hazza talk, we'll be having our sessions. There will be parallel sessions. However, it will be recorded on YouTube afterwards, so don't worry about it. You will be able to see all the sessions afterwards. What I really enjoyed, Dr. Mazen, the fact that you have the circles where you can actually network with your fellow members of the PMI chapter, and it feels like it's an actual event, like it's a virtual, but yet you can see everyone.
Absolutely. So we would like to encourage everybody to actually explore this amazing platform. Also, as you mentioned earlier, questions could be posted in the questions tab. We will be also sending our evaluation link to the audience on live on Slido. It will be posted, and so please give us your feedback and thoughts. Do feel free to use the session chat to post your LinkedIn. I think we have over 300 attendees. So please do actually get connected with the rest of the community as well. So, and I recall Dr. Muhammad's plea for everybody to volunteer to join us. There's a lot coming up in the new strategy that will be presented later on.
That's absolutely great, Dr. Mazen. And I can see I have here some interesting messages thanking the team for organizing the virtual session. It's a great effort. I can see lots of nice messages coming along. Please do not forget to post any of your questions and vote for the ones that you would like to be answered. And that way you would be able to accommodate as much as possible, the most questions possible on the session today. And as Dr. Muhammad said, you have come up with an excellent strategy where you have hosted a full online platform to be able to continue and develop and evolve the UAE PMI chapter. Right, Dr. Mazen?
Absolutely, absolutely. Our PMI UAE chapter website is also available. Please do make sure that you check it every now and then. Social media outlets for PMI UAE chapter have been very active. Our wonderful marketing director Mina has been, and our social media expert and lead Latif has been working hard and. Tirelessly to get you always connected through our social media channels from YouTube to LinkedIn. So do follow us as well. We have a lot of events coming up, great speakers from world-renowned organizations, just like Dr. Hazza. We are, and His Excellency, who's joining us today. We have also the pleasure of working with corporates across the world, from KPMG all the way to local authorities like Dubai Health Authority or environmental agency Abu Dhabi. So we have a wide variety of speakers, capabilities that are coming in the new rebrand. And COVID-19 is giving us an opportunity to grow virtually and connect with a wider community. So stay safe, obviously keep healthy, and make sure that you look after yourselves and your families as well.
I think Dr. Mazen and May, I couldn't stop help but hearing you. I remember during the lockdown when the strategy work started and the exercise started. Of course, things had to go by the book and things had to go according to a certain approved formula. I mean, a strategy is a strategy. There is no messing around with it. However, to take it completely online, I think it was challenging. To have everybody online at the same time, where everybody was used to going to the drawing board and writing their thoughts and jotting down notes and maybe working with each other in a physical environment. To take that completely online, I mean 100% online. Not a single meeting was done in physical presence. It was all done via WebEx, and it was done in a coordinated manner. Every meeting had about an hour and a half discussion where all the board members were present, and I can't thank them enough for them, for their time, for their efforts. I mean, it's one thing to deal with the psychological impacts of lockdown, which is very, very unique to our time, and to deal with an exercise which they are familiar with, and suddenly it's becoming unfamiliar. The unfamiliarity came from being completely online. And every meeting had its own formula and its own right, and its own task, of course. Dr. Mazen was there, the board members were there, some of the managers, the volunteers were there as well. We had volunteering sessions. We wanted to hear everybody, and of course, with the limitation of taking things online, and we had to rush it. Believe it or not, May, the strategy was created in approximately 8 weeks. And then 8 weeks, yes, 8 weeks. And I think it's the fastest strategy ever created. It's the most unique by being online, and it's the first of a kind that I have seen throughout my entire career. So I would like to again, provide my thanks and appreciation to Dr. Samar, who also working from Abu Dhabi was able to log in and coordinate and maestro the whole exercise.
Dr. Hazza will join us very shortly. But when you talk about the strategy, if you want to highlight the most important elements of it for everybody who's watching us, we have over 300 people with us today. What would you like to highlight?
Well, I think a very close topic to my heart is the youth pillar in our strategy. And this is something new that we've introduced this year in PMI UAE. It is the future. It is the succession planning. It is the passing on the ball, if you'd like, to our next generation. This pillar is led by my colleague, Mr. Abdullah Al-Ali, who is a youth in his own right. He is the youngest amongst us as board member.
Yes.
He's the youth ambassador. He's been an avid participant in the strategy with many, many thoughts and initiatives on his plate. I wish him all the best, and I think this is a crucial point for us in PMI UAE, where we plan for youth involvement and plan for their engagement through project management modules, education, and formulas, which many of them, by the way, have impressed me by having it. I think schools have changed, have prepared them very well. And I think they are very well geared to take over the future of project management and introduce new methodologies going forward. And at that point, I would like to challenge my team to think of new initiatives where we are impacting schools, impacting children at very, very young age with project management formulas, ways of thinking. And I think we will even be further impressed with what our children have and schools have been teaching them. Because these children, I mean, if you give them a piece of Lego or any other game, I think they have their ways by not sticking to the rules and cutting corners and saving time and money and completing the project as it should be. So these are interesting concepts that these young fellas will be introducing to us and teaching us maybe going to the future.
This is absolutely exciting. And I believe that when it comes to the youth, we would like to also call upon all the members of PMI to get their team members who has just joined the company, who are quite young, to join us, because this will have a huge impact. We need to also to mention that as a member, we would like it to be a walking advertising for PMI, right, Dr. Muhammad?
Absolutely. I mean, we've been really honored to work with members who have now become volunteers, and some of them are managers with us in the PMI board. So I think the team always reminds me of a lovely song. Everything I do it for you. I do it for the member.
I like that song too. Yeah, I have a couple of the events of the PMI since last year, and I can feel the spirit. Everybody is supporting everyone, and the fact, I mean, especially with this pandemic, it has showcased the importance of project management. You can't move a step forward, you know, especially with a pandemic like this, and that showcases strategy being built in 8 weeks. I mean, this is alone, it showcases. When you are working and PMI and supporting each other, the impact that we can have. I believe Dr. Hazza is joining us very soon. He has been with us now on the chat group where he was just saying hello. Dr. Muhammad will be taking, and Dr. Mazen, of course, some questions. If you would like to post your questions. Dr. Mazen, do you have access to the questions?
Yes, if you allow me just to share my screen quickly.
Yes.
Just bear with me, and just please confirm if you can see the first question.
Yes, we can see all the most popular ones. I can see them all.
Excellent. So the first question is from Abu Bakr Siddiq, who says, actually, nice to hear the initial talk. What are opportunities or how to reach the UAE chapter to present our recommendations for the development? So the first part of the question, what are the opportunities that, Dr. Muhammad, if you can highlight the most important aspects out of the strategy and some of the opportunities that you've highlighted earlier, and I will take the second part of the question if you like.
Well, I think the opportunities are huge and vast. I think with the new strategy, setting that, how do you want to work? How do we want to take things forward? I think which will be floated online today on our website. So you're welcome to download it, go through it, and understand what is the vision for the region, what is the vision for the UAE in terms of project management initiatives. So I think we need, let me tell you, we need everything. And this is in terms of spreading the knowledge of project management. If you look at organizations around us, I think some organizations are implementing project management very well, and that's why they are leaders in their fields. However, others are not. Hence, you can sense the awareness there. You can sense the implementation. You can sense the level of success, which still has a lot of room, a lot of potential. Hence, I think by supporting PMI, you help spread the awareness, spread the knowledge, and help other fellows, other participants gain this knowledge and implement it in their entities and their workplace. So the opportunities are huge. And if you allow me, Dr. Mazen, to answer on your behalf the second part of the question, for the sake of time, I think reaching out to the UAE chapters, you will have wonderful circles this afternoon starting 11:30 a.m. with all chapter leaders where you can interact with them one-on-one. Please use that platform. As well, you will have the ability to contact us through our emails, which are on the website, documented properly, and as well as many other channels. Whichever channel you feel comfortable with, please reach out to us.
While Dr. Hazza is opening his presentation, I would like to remind we're going to be having multiple sessions happening at the same time after his session. And afterwards, we'll be having circles, networking. Make sure you join. And at the end, please do fill in the survey. Your feedback is very important for the involvement and development of the PMI UAE chapter.
Okay, here we go. So this is my presentation now.
Over to you, Dr. Hazza.
Thank you very much. It's Assalamu alaikum, everyone. It's really an honor, and I apologize for what's happened. It's an honor, and it's absolute pleasure being here with you today. I'm very excited and happy being in such webinar with an audience who have experience in the field of project management and excellence, a field which is very close to my heart, which is I'm very passionate about. I would love to be with you in person, but given the current situation, we are doing this virtually, and I hope everyone are keeping safe and healthy. Today, we are going to talk about agility in general and organizational agility in specific. But before that, I would just like to give you a brief on the role of Dubai Government Excellence Program and its contribution to the excellence in Dubai government entities. Dubai Government Excellence Program is a pioneer program established by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, UAE Vice President, Prime Minister, and the ruler of Dubai in 1997. It's almost 23 years ago, aimed to enhance the Dubai Government Excellence performance and services to a leading position and level globally, and consider as the first, and this program is considered as the first government excellence program worldwide. DGEP established to focus on three main areas, as you can see, set standards and incentivize excellence in government entities. And this is done through developing and updating the framework of excellence and conducting an assessment, a yearly assessment, or every 2 years assessment, and providing feedback to government entities. The second is to act as global and innovation hub. And this is done through really facilitating knowledge sharing, like this seminar, for example, within Dubai and within our international partner, and build network of experts in the area of excellence and innovation within the government entity in Dubai. And accordingly, we advise Dubai leadership on government excellence through developing and sharing and findings, reports of government excellence in specific, and government performance in general. It's a program, to be honest, it's very close to His Highness' heart. He has highlighted the role and the impact of DGEP, of Dubai Government Excellence Program, in the transformation of government entities' performance and services in his book. He has too many quotes in his book, but one of his quotes, he mentioned that this program is the force behind improvement of the public sector. It's propagate a spirit of a competition not known by the government department before. All managers, official, employees seek to compete to provide the best to win one of the awards. How do we start as a DGP with planning, governance, engaging with our stakeholders and other necessary elements to ensure really successful implementation of this successful program? As you can see, the deployment of Government Excellence Program is achieved through these key stages. First, we set the aim and the objective of government excellence performance as per the government priorities, which are decided according to our leadership direction, and the latest trend in the excellence and innovation, and also on what we have received and decided as an area of improvement in government in government entities based on the assessment cycle, or on the last assessment cycle. One of the main contributors as well in setting the aims and objectives is to take the government entities' feedback into consideration and address their needs and expectations. Based on that, we design and develop the awards model, the categories, the criteria of each category, in addition to introduce new initiatives, new programs, new projects that will enhance the public sector performance and build the human capabilities in government entities. The next stage is that the program conducts several activities in spreading the awareness, the knowledge of the model, of the criteria, and the way of adapting the best practices. At this stage, other activities targeting upskillings and enhancing the capacity of the government entities' employees in the field of excellence and innovation, as well as the best practices implementation in the public sector. This includes several activities such as using the learning methodologies, including e-learning and smart learning methodologies. Then we measure the government performance, which is a vital step through carrying out our assessment cycle, and also through conducting a customer and employees satisfaction and happiness every year. Then rewarding and recognition, and what we call in Dubai positive motivation, which is Dubai way to stimulate government performance. Where all government entities, employees, initiatives, achievement are recognized through a prestigious award ceremony under the patronage of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid and his personal presence. And finally, we have to learn from our experience and also share the knowledge with the government entities and the world. So this is what we do in brief in Dubai Government Excellence Program. Moving into our main topic today, as everyone noticed and lived through the pandemic and saw the huge impact it had and still on the way of doing business, the emergence of the importance of organizational agility and how organizational ensures rapid response to changes into their internal and external environment of the businesses, and ensure business continuity during this crisis. Also, everyone noticed the importance of the human element during the crisis and how the organization should respond to these human requirements and the human need and expectation. The crisis also showed a major and important role of the leadership in managing the crisis and taking the decision in the right time, and to take the right decision in the right time. Of course, we saw during the pandemic and until now two types of organization: the type that suffer and the other type that were able to withstand and overcome the crisis. And these are the organizations that have an organizational capabilities that enable them to continue performing their business and delivering their services in light with the negative impact and effect of the crisis. So this crisis was an alarm which uncovered the shortcoming and the challenges of the global approach to the risk management. It highlighted the need to rethink of the way of operating during the crisis or any future crisis, what we need to change in order to overcome such crises and challenges in the future, what and how should we do things differently? Finally, how and where shall we start? The former governor of the Bank of England, Mark Carney, stated in one of the latest issue of The Economist that we are entering a world in which firms will be expected to prepare for black swans by valuing anti-fragile and planning for a catastrophe. As you know, black swan is a metaphor for future foresight, represent an event with a low probabilities and a very high impact. It's exactly what we have experienced as a result of this pandemic. So this crisis led us to too many unanswered questions. Did our current global risk management system fail? Do we need to rethink of management through crisis? What is wrong with the current approach of risk management? What does it deal? Why does it deal poorly with the current global crisis? So almost all organizations have its own risk management system, but it didn't work as planned. However, the risk management contributed a lot. There were many success and achievement attributed to this field, but failed a lot at the same time. The reason, as you can see, if you cannot expect the risk, it's okay not to deal with it and exclude it. So some organization cannot deal with black swans, does not emphasize on preventive action as well. If we go back to the literature, there were a lot of risk management failure globally. As you know, some of example included the Fukushima nuclear disaster, the Concorde plane. What we can conclude is that the risk management system have been rigid, reactive, complex, unable to predict the risk and assume the availability of all information, management attention, which does not really exist at the same time. Global risk or risk has global crisis or risk has to be integrated with the organizational system and organizational risk. The risk management system have to be proactive. It has to be part of the organizational future foresight. We cannot treat the organizational risk as an internal processes and totally disconnected from the outside world. Global and organizational risk management system failed, although there were too many alarms and alerts. If we consider the current pandemic that we lived in right now, there were area warnings since a decade from now, and which were unfortunately ignored and not giving much attention. As you can see, the Times Magazine has issued a report back in 2017, highlighted that the world was not ready for the next pandemic or for this pandemic. This leads us to the necessity of embedding agility practices and processes within our organization. Our organization must be agile. So what do we mean by agility? Moving from the risk management and the challenges faced the risk management system within the organization. So moving and wanted to have agility in all organizations. What do we mean by agility? I will show you a couple of pictures for you to think about what is agility and what does it really mean. Probably most of you seen this picture. Typically when a goal is placed, you expect to have all the organizational capabilities, resources, processes available to support in achieving the goal. However, it's not as straightforward, particularly in this VUCA world that we live in right now, where there were so much uncertainty around us. Path is not always straight, and many unforeseen events could raise and change the course of where we plan to head. As highlighted earlier, the pandemic did not impact one individual or one country, but in the entire world. Everyone had to find ways of how to deal with this pandemic. Of course, there are many definitions of agility, which we will cover shortly. We will bring different definitions from different organizations. However, this image can help us to understand what does it really mean. Agility, in summary, we can call it the ability to adapt. Everyone had to adapt to the current situation resulting from the pandemic. Today, we all live in this situation that you see in the picture, and we have already adapted. Of course, the person or the human by nature, they can adapt to any situation. During the quarantine, the majority of us here in the UAE or globally, we forced to work remotely. The practice was not an option for many organizations. They never believed, some of the organization and leadership, they never believed in this practice, but were forced to do so. There were so much challenges in the beginning, but it worked. And it continues today, and we see some organizations still opt to continue to work remotely, and some extend to the end of the year, and other, like Google, have allowed their employees to work remotely forever. And this past Thursday, His Highness Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed announced working from home policy for the parent or mothers who have kids learning remotely. So the world is really changing, resulting this pandemic. However, the situation is not that simple when it comes to the organizational agility. The situation is totally different. If the organization are only required to adapt, they will not exist for many reasons. You all know Jack Welch. He stated in one of his quotes that if the rate of change on the outside of the organization exceed the rate of change on the inside, the need is end for any organization. Indeed, the need of any organization will be very soon if it's unable to predict the external factor and their impact on the organizational work system. And probably the most important factor is that the factor of speed, that refers to the speed of change happening around us as a part of the VUCA award we exist in. There are many examples of companies who were not agile enough throughout the years, and they don't exist right now. And you all know the example of Nokia and Kodak. Agility differs really from, the definition of agility differs from sector to another. Here you can see several definitions of agility. In DGP, in Dubai Government Excellence Program, we define the agility as the entity ability to quickly respond to changes in its external and internal environment and seize opportunities to achieve leadership. And the European Foundation of Quality Management, EFQM, define agility as the organizational ability to identify, respond effectively and efficiently to opportunity and threats. Many terms have been used which are very similar to how organizational agility is defined. You all know as well the organizational resilience, which is really basically refer to the organizational ability to observe and adapt in this changing environment, overcoming any threats that its impact the organization may face to survive and prosper. It considers the organizational ability to withstand crisis, ensure business continuity, and provide necessary resources. A key difference between the agility and the organizational resilience is the key requirement for agility is to have efficiency in spending and in managing resources when you have agility in the organization. However, in the organizational resilience, you're required to provide of the strategic stock to face crisis and disaster, even if that in the expense of the efficiency. An example of this stock of medicine, medical supplies, and food security. So our definition of organizational agility implies having organizational strength to withstand pressure, shocks, in addition to improve after that. It does not really matter much whether we label it organizational agility or resilience or anti-fragile. There is another definition called anti-fragile. What's really matter most is what you apply from these features on the ground within the organization. I'm not really going to stress much on this slide as you all know and aware of the VUCA concept. I don't know, VUCA concept, but if we consider the need for the organization agility and why we need okay, it's just keep moving. So the current pandemic is one of the events. However, the VUCA word is actually, this pandemic and any other changes that happening around the world, we can consider it as a VUCA word. Just I have mentioned, even without a crisis, all organizational must have agility within their organizational DNA. For many reasons, we live in an era of velocity and speed. The development in the fields happening at the accelerated pace, especially in the field of technology. Technology trend used to really followed up and measured every 3 years or 1 year. However, the recent measurement of any technology is happening every month now. The change in customer expectation as well require high quality services, and also higher competition leads to a higher customer expectation. Also, the availability of knowledge for all. Everyone can obtain information easily today. Information is available to everyone through a various social media channel, and this puts a significant pressure on the organization to respond to this, to make the decision quickly. What we can see here is an integrated organizational system, is an integrated organizational management approach from proactive sensing to responding, improving, and learning. Going through these steps, starting with analyzing the data and the information, then building the capability within the organization that will be able to use this analyzed information and create solution and seize future opportunities. This will enable faster decision making by the leadership from leadership team, particularly in change management, and to have agile system process to be in place. So this is an integrated system of the organizational agility. There are some features, as you can see, of agile and non-agile organization. Agile organization are ambitious, continuously improving, wherein non-agile organization are very traditional. Agile organization are taking taking the right measure, but the right precaution, but not overdoing it. Wherein non-agile organization are ignorance of all external and internal environment of the organization. If the organizational built an integrated system to work with organizational agility, first of all, it will ensure its survival and sustainability and business continuity by seizing opportunities and overcoming the challenges. They will also enable the organization to achieve high efficiency and satisfying the customer, and all of this, of course, will make sure and enhance organizational global competitiveness. Organizational agility cannot be achieved without a positive work environment in which cooperation, loyalty, and acceptance of change are integral to the culture of the organization. And this cannot be achieved without the presence of the leadership and the leadership team and their closeness to the people, encouragement, and being very supportive with a clear vision of the future. There have been many success stories, whether on the level of the United Arab Emirates in the UAE or in Dubai, in addressing the COVID-19 situation. I will highlight few examples happening specifically in Dubai, few success stories in Dubai. One of the first success stories, to be honest, not in the organization level, but it's in the government level. As of 11th of March of this year, the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a world pandemic. For the preparedness and response planning purposes, Dubai COVID-19 Command and Control Center was set up following a decree by His Highness Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed bin Rashid, the Crown Prince of Dubai. The center created an integrated network which consists of a variety of public and private sector entities to manage the COVID-19 situation in the Emirates and to combat the global pandemic around the clock. This initiative is a clearly example of government agility as a whole, and its readiness to address any challenges that might happen and it might face in the future. Another example, it's DEWA, ensure the 24/7 uninterrupted customer service, provision of water, electricity throughout the COVID-19 crisis. And this would have not been achieved if DEWA has not embedded the agility practice processes prior to the pandemic to ensure employees' readiness, positive and productive behavior in working remotely, as well as the availability of the right technology and high data security policy in place. Another example of DEWA was also agile through extending its support to other government entities during the pandemic, such as to DHA, Dubai Police, and Dubai Municipality. DEWA provided power and water supply to all the fields hospital and center for DHA that spread all across the area before being even constructed. DEWA also provided Dubai Police and Dubai Health Authority with the qualified universal service center staff to support their service provision due to shortage of employees, and they provide the right support and the right training on the ground to the employee. Another example is Dubai Police as well. Dubai Police has focused on reskilling its workforce. More than 14,000 employees have been reskilled to support in combating the pandemic. Another example is Dubai Police created 58 new work procedure and stopped 38 old procedure, and also moving 100% smart services and 4 police services. This is show you how ready and prepared these government entities are. Another example, RTA have repurposed its taxi during the pandemic as well, since a large number of taxi were idle due to drop of demand that has reached to 87%. Over 10,000 taxi drivers were not utilized during the pandemic. Taxi were being used to transfer COVID-19 patients due to the pressure on the existing medical vehicle, and have been also used to transfer the groceries, where online shopping increased significantly during that time with a limited delivery option. This shows you as well RTA preparedness in addressing its current challenges and in seizing opportunity to support other sectors. I would like also to share with you one of Dubai Government Excellence Program initiatives that took place during the COVID-19 pandemic, which also shows how DGEP team being agile and really utilizing existing initiatives for totally other purposes, like to overcome the pandemic. This benchmarking initiative, DGEP has conducted an exciting and I think a very beneficial project during the crisis, which has held under one of our benchmarking initiatives called Dubai Wilan initiatives. During this crisis, we have initiated the project aiming at learning from the best practice in managing and recovering from COVID-19 crisis using international recognized methodology and tools that we used to apply within our initiatives Dubai Wilan. The project was conducted and finalized in a duration of 6 weeks, and it was during the crisis and the lockdown, while everyone in Dubai working remotely. The project really involved identifying the best practice in managing COVID-19 in 5 different pillars, mainly crisis management, health, public health sector, economic recovery, food security and supply chain, and the social behavior pillar. Over 28 government officials and employees were involved in this project, representing 11 government entities. The project resulted in identifying over 200 best practices from 50 countries around the world, which really helped Dubai in combating the negative impact from this pandemic. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for having me, and thank you for your time. I'm happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hazza, for a very beneficial and informative presentation. Dr. Mazen, you're with me now, and I believe you'll be moderating the questions. Over to you, Dr.
Yes.
Mazen.
Thank you, May, and thank you, Dr. Hazza. So let's deep dive into it, Dr. Hazza, if you don't mind. The first question I have is from Joe Aloka. He says, why is COVID-19 considered a black swan? Yet there were so many warnings before it spread across borders. President Obama, for instance, already talked about the dangers of a global pandemic in 2014. From your thoughts, Dr. Hazza, and all the great activities that you've been involved in, what are your thoughts on why did we miss the mark?
So the question was why it was considered as a black swan, right? So as you know, yes, I think, you know, people or let's say countries were waiting the response from the World Health Organization, and very little countries take the right measures. However, if we consider Dubai, for example, we were ready for such crisis. You know, it took us time a little bit, but how agile the government in general and the government entities, as I show you a few examples, we were ready for such crisis. To be honest, during the crisis, only 2 services where we struggled. I don't know if I'm allowed to disclose these 2 services. Only 2 services we faced difficulty in Dubai and really working, for example, in delivering these services remotely. Imagine out of all government entity, but it's you know, the world were waiting the World Health Organization to respond to such pandemic.
Doctor, so I think the UAE has put a role model or example of how to be ready, while the globe actually globally, you know, there was obviously a variety of responses, and hence the question. The second question, Dr. Hazza, how do we define the balance between just-in-time, which has been a cause for concern this year, and saving on inventory hold expenses? So I presume specifically in crisis, what are your thoughts on this?
Can you repeat that?
The time, Dr. Hazza, to try and strike a balance. How do you define a balance between just-in-time and perhaps in the times of crisis? Specifically, previously we used to look at just-in-time Toyota model, where you bring in the supplies just in time for the specific production. But now, with the pandemic hitting us, what are your thoughts on securing the inventory and the supply chain, and how do we actually manage our finances? That's all.
Very good question. Actually, we have learned a lot from this pandemic. You know, one of the main things we learn when it comes to just in time, it's been changed now. I don't know if you go through the literature as well, and through lots of reports being issued recently. Lots of international companies move from just in time to just in case. So actually, just in time is not valid anymore when it comes to pandemic, and you know the total supply and demand totally changed during the pandemic. So lots of companies move to just in case concept instead of just in time.
Doctor, and I think this is very disruptive to the nature and the culture of our existence when you now introduce this new concept of just in case. I like that. Thank you so much, Doctor, for this. Very great idea. The next question, Doctor, is basically about the agility and the maturity. How do you think an organization is assessing its agility nowadays when crises are upon us? And what are the lessons learned from your experience, Doctor?
You cannot assess agility right away. It's a learning exercise. For example, agility, you have to, for example, it's when we talk about Dubai, it's been a huge investment since 20 years in all different fields. So if you took, for example, the working remotely, it was challenging at the beginning, but the infrastructure was set within Dubai, really helped overcoming, the challenges faced by working remotely in Dubai. And Dubai is actually ranked the second worldwide, the second city worldwide, from the CEO magazine in San Francisco. Actually followed San Francisco, was scored #1 and Dubai #2. So actually you assess how agile you are by consistent evaluating of your job. So what will be affected and what will not be affected during the crisis. So all these scenarios should be designed and planned planned in place within the organization. So I think the organization, COVID-19 pandemic, it was a shock for everyone. It wasn't an easy let's say, challenge faced by the government entities. It was a shock for everyone. However, the organization should really have this agility within their organization, within the DA of the organization, having a full plan, a full different scenarios, imagining the worst for the entities, and then they can respond accordingly to any crisis.
And Doctor, based on this, let me build another question. How much do you see more collaboration is happening locally, between local authorities, between federal authorities and ministries, and as well regionally and globally? What did you see is different now in the area of collaboration?
Very interesting question. To be honest, one of the benefits of this crisis is collaboration, is enhancing collaboration when it comes to the government entities. Lots of decisions being taken, it were impossible to be taken before the crisis. So, for example, as I just mentioned in the presentation, the CCC, the Command and Control Center, is a great example of collaboration of government entities to face this crisis. Lots of even within the organization, when the crisis come in place, this is the really benefit of the crisis. No one would imagine that different entities will work at the same time. We use as let's say, Executive Council or Dubai Government Excellence Program face difficulty in really bringing people together. But this is one of the advantage of this crisis, is really bringing all the government entities together. Lots of systems, by the way, were never in place. Now they are in place. Either AI system to predict in the future any crisis, or either food security system. Now a huge collaboration between the private sector and the public sector taking place after this pandemic. Sometimes the necessity of maybe of continuing the business, of keeping things going, help this collaboration.
A question by Mahmoud As'ad. He says, thank you, Doctor. Will agile project management be assessed during assessing the organizational agility in the coming DGE assessment? And I want to focus on the concept of agile project management, Doctor, to the existence and the resilience of current organizations. From your perspective, what are your thoughts?
I think if we talk about the Dubai Government Excellence Program, agility were really embedded and introduced long time ago within the risk management framework. When we assess the risk management and the governance within the organization, it was there. But recently, DGAP announced a new model, which is the elite model. And we embedded, we introduced a new term in last October, to be honest, in 2019. We introduced the agility term to the government entities, especially to the elite entities. And this is going to be assessed really, as I just mentioned, how the organization respond to the changes internally and externally, and how they're seizing the opportunities and overcoming the threat and challenges, and how the leadership really delegate and empower their staff and their employees within the organization. We will look into this actually in the new model of the elite model we introduced in Dubai. It really helped Dubai entities for this pandemic. So we focus on agility, one of the pillar or one of the main criteria. The second, we focus on AI and data science. Imagine, so people are prepared for such pandemic and such crisis. And last but not least is the PPP. And this was really not taken seriously by the government in the past. Now the government are working closely, and this is maybe going back to your previous question, to the collaboration. The PPP helped a lot the collaboration between the public and private sector, specifically in Dubai government entities.
Doctor. طيب, another question that came up, Doctor, from Fani Kumar. What kind of key decisions made in various organizations that would benefit the project management community to ensure the business continuity and employee well-being, with many firms implementing partial and full virtual way of working? What are your thoughts, Doctor, now that the culture of work has changed? Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed announced that there is a new policy coming in Dubai government that will look at virtual work for female employees that are pregnant or have certain requirements, as well as now the government of Dubai is moving into a much more agile fashion. What are your thoughts, Doctor, on the way the culture of work that has changed due to this pandemic, and what project management community could benefit from?
Very interesting question. I think the culture is totally changed within the organization. If you talk about the culture, people are more proactive when it comes to, for example, working remotely. People are more independent. People used to be very, dependent on their colleagues, on their line managers. Now more dependent. The culture changed. People being more proactive, more careful. Different type of or way of doing business. It's becoming really easy these days. But when it comes to project management, to be honest, I don't know if you ask, what examples being launched by the government or decision being taken by government entities, what right decision being taken when it comes to project management. But what I can assure you that, for example, a lots of efficiency saving project being taking place now. For example, a lots of collaboration happening in the government entities, a lots of projects, the unneeded project, for example, being cancelled. But to be honest, I'm not aware of critical decision being taken by the government to support project management.
I think His Highness Sheikh Hamdan and I think his vision for the new government ethos and direction will rely more on the digital infrastructure that has been put together in the Emirate of Dubai and global, I guess, throughout the whole UAE, to try and enable more digital transformation across the board. And perhaps that's where the project management requirement becomes a necessity. And now, in addition to this, to your point, Dr. Hazza, the well-being and the remote, obviously the virtual capabilities has been adding to this. But thank you so much. That's really great. Great point.
Maybe if you allow me to add to this point, specifically when it comes to digital services, as you might all be aware of, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid on the federal level, he directed to have 50% of the service center, to be transformed into a fully digital services. So this is as a result of this pandemic, helping the entities and the government and the organization moving into digital services.
is always innovating and forward thinking. So that's very comforting to hear as well. So Dr. Hazza, also another question that I have is in terms of obviously the to come to the digitization, what sort of further work that you see in the digital transformation on that point that will go into the next preparation for the next pandemic or the next wave? How much more do you think there will be investment? How much more will there be more preparation to make us more resilient and make us more prepared for the next upcoming waves?
Thank you. I think further work that needs to be done when it comes to a digital. One of the main thing is the collaboration between the government, between different organizations. This is one of the main things. They have to collaborate. They avoid redundant and repetition of some initiatives and of some service provision, for example. The other thing which I see missing, for example, everywhere, it's the having the system or the AI system that will really and truly help the organizational and the government to predict the future. So we're still not there yet. We need to use and utilize the data that we have. We have to do more analysis, and we have to have more advanced systems that will help us in predicting the future. So these two.
Very good point, Doctor. Thank you for pointing them out. AI and predictive analysis, very interesting. Doctor, on that note, if I may ask, we have a question by Sunil Roy, and the question is, why our risk management, globally speaking, why is our risk management has failed in many areas, perhaps, while tackling this pandemic? The question is, it is because human by nature are subjective in risk analysis and management? Do you think our risk management itself needs a change from qualitative to quantitative in the agile organization model? And how can we measure risk and forecast to learn from our lessons? So I think the question here is rotating about rethinking risk management. What are your thoughts, Doctor?
Very interesting question. I think absolutely. I agree. Totally agree with you. It's definitely because of the subjective nature being taken by the human, interaction when it comes to the decision making. Lots of the decision not based on a scientific approach. When it comes to risk management. So this is I think mainly human need to be. I think we're talking a lot about advanced systems. At the same time, the workforce or the human capability is not up to this level. So when it comes to, for example, when we talk about AI and data analytics, for example, I think we're still not there. We talk about the system, and we might have this system, but unfortunately, we are not being able to fully utilize such feature and such technology. So definitely, building human capability is a key factor in achieving, risk management.
Absolutely, and as you said earlier, Doctor, the incorporation of AI and predictive analysis might be also a great addition to the concept of risk management to make it more quantitative, more scientific, as you've put it actually nicely. Thank you, Doctor. A question, Doctor, from Ustaza Fatma Al-Zaabi, the VP at ADNOC. She's thanking you, Dr. Hazza, for sharing with such information and updates, which is highly important to the future success of companies. The question is, Dr. Hazza, what were the key success factors that supported Dubai government to go back to the new normal? And what are the lessons learned? And then there is another question. I want you first to look at this, and then I'll continue. Go ahead, Doctor. The first question is, what are the... Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, what are the key success factors that help Dubai government to go back to normal? It's a very interesting question, to be honest. When we look at Dubai government learned from this crisis, and it was very interesting. Looking at international best practice, it was a key, but at the same time, every country they doing. You might apply something here, and failed somewhere else, and you might apply it somewhere else. It totally failed here. It is totally new. It's the best time to make a mistake during this pandemic. We all learning during the pandemic. But the main success factor. So, for example, I give you a very, very small example when it comes why Dubai go back to normal. If we look at him, maybe Dr. Mohammed knows more about this. When we look at, for example, the bed capacity when it comes to the COVID patients, for example, we planned in Dubai. We started from the worst, going backward. And thanks God, we didn't need even 10% from the worst. We didn't even reach to 10% from the worst. So, for example, if we have, I'm just giving a number. If we have 10,000 beds available in Dubai, we only utilize 1,000. And we learning by time, and then we saw that it's really no need to lock down and to close everything. So the capacity is there, the human capacity is there, the medical requirements are there. So why not going back to normal? And for 2 months we didn't exceed 1,000 beds, for example. So, and we have a capacity of 10,000. So I just want to show you how much confident leadership when they move to this decision. They are confident. They can really manage such crisis. So this is one of the main success factor. Other success factors actually is the agility of and the readiness of the government in general when it comes to this pandemic. The government are ready. We face, as I told you at the beginning, we face only challenges in 2 services. Imagine, in all government entity services, only 2, and these 2 government entities manage to conduct the services to the customer within the pandemic time.
If I may add there, Dr. Hazza, to your point, I think this was a test for government in terms of working in a coordinated manner, in a very efficient manner, synergistic manner. It was a test for the human will before the availability of resources. And if I may give this small example on Dubai municipality, in addition to the wonderful examples that Dr. Hazza gave. You remember initially towards the lockdown, there was instruction to start disinfecting the roads, sanitization of the roads. So this task was between Dubai Health Authority and Dubai municipality. Of course, Dubai Health Authority would go in and put the specifications, put the scientific requirements for the areas to be disinfected and the chemicals to be used and so forth, in coordination with the Dubai municipality, who would then use their vehicles to disinfect. And Dubai municipality came up with a wonderful innovation to convert their traditional trucks, their traditional pickup trucks, into disinfecting vehicles. Of course, there was an order for multiple vehicles placed for specific specialized vehicles. But until that arrived, and you can imagine during lockdown, there was a simple innovation. I wish I had a picture to share with you today of these simple trucks where they were started immediately, commissioned immediately, with a small innovation where they were being able to convert them into disinfection trucks. Alhamdulillah, they were able to disinfect a huge percentage of the city and be able to successfully complete that task within a very, very short period of time. During lockdown, I think that was a very heartwarming example that I couldn't help but mention. So thank you, Dr. Hazza, for highlighting the towards COVID-19.
Thanks.
Absolutely, Dr. Mohammed, and would love to keep you for the next part of the question as well that Ustada Fatma Al-Zahabi has shared with us. So Dr. Hazza, in in the last 10 minutes or 7 minutes with Dr. Muhammad's thoughts as well. Ustaza Fatma is asking, how much ready are we today for any unexpected scenarios such as COVID-19, learning from the government of Dubai innovation and agile mindset?
Very interesting question. I think, I don't think there is a crisis or a challenge will face the government like the COVID-19. It was a life lesson actually for all government entities of how to do business, and I can assure Akhti Fatima that not just Dubai, I think all the UAE are very ready for any circumstances and any crisis that might happen in the future. Now we can, and this is what we do when it comes to excellence. For example, you might know as well, one of our main pillars, we talk about future foresight and imagining the thing that you never imagined. So hopefully we're ready. We're very ready to any future crisis. I don't know if Dr. Muhammad has anything to say on that as well.
I may add, Dr. Hazza, the word is preparedness and staying vigilant, monitoring the changes, not only from COVID-19. I think we have great experience there, and should la qadar Allah anything happen, I think we are very well prepared, and the previous 3 to 4 months were a test and proof on that. However, there are other situations that we have to also stay vigilant on. For example, cyber security. That's an area where we shouldn't be not keeping an eye on. I think there are as the world completely goes online, there are threats happening all the time. So we will not be immune. We have to be ready and prepared. The key word as well is preparedness in a scientific manner. Be it healthcare, be it cybersecurity. I think there is a formula that everybody needs to apply when it comes to how do you respond. Numbers increasing, la qadar Allah, of COVID-19, there is a response level 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Same applies to cybersecurity, and so on. And I'm sure the risk managers around us would tell us other domains where we have to stay vigilant and stay prepared for all kinds of situations. That is risk management for us.
Excellent. So, Dr. Hazza and Dr. Muhammad, there is a question by Asif Mushtaq. Is there any optimal level between agility and cost? Yani, what is the concern an organization should be aware of between agility and cost?
Thank you. I don't think that you can measure it this way. The organizational should consider being agile with considering the right having the right resources, the right system, the right integrated system, without looking into cost as a major issue. But at the same time you have to measure the return on investment when it comes to agility as well. So not to spend too much, and at the same time you expect to be a more agile entity. But it's totally different when it comes to such crisis. Such a crisis is actually as I just mentioned in the presentation, the government. We need to be more resilient. The government really they bail out, they support the society, the entrepreneur, the companies. You have to keep these companies alive. So sometime, that being resilient just to stay alive, just to be more sustainable. My advice is there is no optimal level when it comes to agility and cost. However, you have to really and truly measure the return of investment. You have to, to truly analyze the return of investment when it comes to agility as well.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hazza, for your valuable time and great information you have shared with us. I believe there are more questions. However, our time has ended for this session. Inshallah, we'll be able to have you in the new future virtual events or hopefully live events.
Thank you, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Dr. Mazen, for moderating the questions. Have a great day ahead. And now, ladies and gentlemen, before we go to the parallel sessions, we will be sharing with you on the main event wall. You have seen a link that has been shared for the survey. The survey is extremely important for the development of the PMI chapter. And as a quick reminder, to join any of the parallel sessions, please click on the sessions icon on the left side and choose any session you would like to be part of. Remember that all the sessions will be recorded on our YouTube channel. So just choose one of the sessions and the rest you can see afterwards. Also, I would like to mention by 12:15, we will have the group networking group available on the left-hand side called Circles. You can choose a circle that you want to attend and turn on your webcam and microphone and speak with your fellow chapter members. Please enjoy the rest of the sessions. Enjoy your day. It will be definitely great sessions, and hope you enjoy the networking circles. It was such a great pleasure being with you today, and I hope to see you very soon. Take care, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the sessions. Bye.